Hi everyone, it's Dina and I'm back today with an unboxing video. At the end I'll have a short little necklace tutorial as well. And today's unboxing will be the Adornable Elements' Beads of the Month Club. This club is from March of 2025 and I've got 3 different versions of the club sitting right here. I have the Hot and Trendy Beads of the Month Club. That is the rotating Beads of the Month Club that I signed up for, that Adornable Elements actually gifts to me in return for unboxing and tutorial videos. So we'll be going through that one first. Then the second ones that we'll be going through are the ones that I purchased myself, which is the Gemstone Beads of the Month Club, as well as the Findings Companion Pack. So meet me back in just a minute and we'll start going through these boxes, and like I said at the end, we will do a short little necklace tutorial. Meet you back in a second. Alright, so let's get unboxing the first box, which is the gifted box called Peaceful Meadow. Again, this is the Hot and Trendy Beads of the Month, and it is the one that I'm getting this month that is from the rotating Beads of the Month. So the rotating Beads of the Month goes through all their different types. Every month you'll get something different. So it ends up being twice a year you'll end up getting the similar beads, because there's 6 different types. So this is my rotating Beads of the Month. So we got Hot and Trendy this month, called Peaceful Meadow. So we've got 8 different items in this one, so we'll go through each one of them. The first one is Transparent Light Gray AB Full Disc. And this is going to be a 6mm disc. You end up with 30 of these pieces, and it's just a nice little transparent little disc type bead. Kind of reminds me of a lentil in a way, but it's more of a rondelle-ish shape. So it's got more of a rounded edge to it. So I like those. And before I forget, the little boxes or little containers that they come in, this is containing that disc bead. It's all the containers are labeled, so it says DSC, which is also on your paperwork. So if you get confused as to which one is specifically which, if you're not familiar with which bead is what, then you can always look for that code right there, right before the name of it. Then you know this is the disc bead. The 06 sitting next to it is the size of the bead, so it's going to be a 6mm bead. And I'll show you with the next one as well, which is these guys, which are Crystal AB Gumdrops. So these are called gum, and then they're 7x10s. So that's how you can tell the size of the beads as well. So something that's pretty nifty that they do, just in case you're looking for sizes or anything like that. But these are very aptly named because they look like a gumdrop. And then you have one hole that goes through the top edge of it. So you've got one side that's more flat up here at the top. And then you have the part that hangs down that makes it look more like a little gumdrop. And then your hole goes through that top side. Like that, how I just dropped it. So those are nice. Very different. I haven't gotten anything like that recently, so pretty neat to work with. Third box is Sapphire AB Rizzos. To me, Rizzos are just very tiny little daggers. Just little small little guys. But they are sapphire on one side, and then the other side has a little bit of an AB coating on it. So very nice, and it's got one little hole up here at the very top of the bead. So it hangs down like a little pendant or a charm. And it just resembles little daggers, like little tiny itty bitty small daggers. The fourth one is going to be White Terracotta Blue Twists. These are 8x16s. I forgot to say the Rizzos are 2.5x6s. And then the twists are 8x16s. You get 10 pieces of these guys. And these are pretty nice too. It kind of, the markings and everything on the bead, it makes it look like it's marble in a way. So they're very, very pretty markings. And then it's got a hole up here at the top. So this is where your hole is at. Just the one single hole. So those are pretty neat. I like those. And then we have bag number 5, or container number 5. These are the Peridot Capri Gold Tri Beads. These are 2x4. So they're 2 millimeters thick and then 4 millimeters across on your tri-beads. And then you've got the hole there in the center. So one side is going to be more of the green color, the peridot color, and then the other side is going to be the capri color. And then it just sits like that on your needle or on your project. So these are really good for like spacer beads, just to give it a different look. And a lot of spacer beads are round, whereas this is a triangle bead, so it just gives it a little bit different look. The next one is Jet Green Luster Petals. These petals are 14 by 13 millimeters, and they look just like petals. So you've got that little tri look right there, got like a little bit of a triangle look, and then you have one hole that goes through the top of the petal up here at the top, just like that. So those are pretty neat. These are really good to make something that looks and resembles like flowers. So they're really nice to make in different designs like that. You get 15 of those in the box. I forgot to say you got 7 grams of your tri-beads. Now we actually get to daggers. This is Olivine Shimmer Short Dagger. So there's a couple of different sizes of daggers, and these are the smaller ones. These are the shorter ones. And they are 5 by 12 millimeters. So just like the Rizzos, they kind of hang like a pendant or a charm would. And you've got the one hole that goes up in the top, just like that. And it's a nice little transparent olivine color. And it's got a little bit of a shimmer, so that shimmer just gives it a little extra shine to it. And then the last one in this box, or in this container, is the Chalk Beige Luster Octo Beads. You get 20 of these, and these are 8 by 4 millimeters. Now the octo beads look like an octagon, like the shape of a stop sign, here in the United States at least. And this bead has 3 holes. So you have one out here towards the edge, you have one going down the center. If I can find it, there we go. Have one in the center, and then you have a third one that's out on the opposite edge. So it has 3 different holes in it. So it makes for very nice, intricate, different looking bead weaving projects. So what we'll end up doing for the necklace today, we're going to use these 3 items right here at the top. The gumdrops, the Rizzos, and the twist beads. I'll come back and I will do a second video with the bracelet using the octo beads, our little tri-beads, and the the little disc beads. So we'll use those 3 in a bracelet in a separate video. And then time permitting for the month, I will come back and make a pair of earrings with these 2 guys. So at the end of all of this, if you want to get these 3 out, and if you signed up with my discount code of Dina10, then you should have received this set of beads as well. So if you want to follow along, get those 3 guys out, and I will come back here after we open up the other part of my package, and we'll start making that necklace. Alrighty, so we have the gemstone beads of the month up here at the top, and then we have our black assortment of the Findings Companion Pack down on the bottom. So we'll go through these one by one as well. So the first little box that you get of the gemstone beads of the month, which is Ocean Jasper, is these rondelles that are 4 by 6 millimeters. Now Ocean Jasper has many different colors. I'm trying to see if I can pick up a little bit of all the different color types so I can show it. So Ocean Jasper ranges from this almost of a creamy yellow color. It goes to this grayish green color. Then you have more of kind of a mustard orange or mustard yellow color there. That one looks like mustard yellow also. And then you have some that are more of a brick red. And even then, there's still some white inclusions in there too. So Ocean Jasper has a lot of different colors. It's a very good color combination for fall clothing, if that's something that you like to do and wear those type of clothes, those type of colors. So those are the 4 by 6 millimeters. You get 30 of those. So this is only showing about 2/3. There's like 20 of them sitting in here. I still have probably a good about 10 or 12 of them sitting in the container right now. So you get a bunch of those. Then you get large hole rondelles that are 5 by 8 millimeters. You get 14 of these. So there's those. And then large hole, we can get our little caliper out if you have one of these guys. These are really good if you ever need to measure anything, whether it's a bead, a gemstone, a hole, anything like that. To measure holes, you want to use this tip up here at the top, because when you push it apart like that, it'll come apart, and then you measure it by the millimeters down here on the bottom. So we just want to put that tip inside that hole and then pull it apart a little bit until there's no more resistance. And then that should tell you what the size of the hole is, which if I can get it close enough without it being too blurry, it is a 2 millimeter hole that is inside those rondelles. So those should fit any type of cording or leather or anything like that. That's 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, somewhere around in there. So that's a good option to have, always to have on hand, just in case you have something that is larger in diameter like that. Container number 3 is going to be cushion beads. These are 8 millimeters, and you get 8 of these. So here again, these are really, really different. They're neat. And you get a range of colors, because here's one that's more of that mustard yellow. It has some green inclusions in it. Get more of that gray green. This one's the neat bead because you have a line going down the center of it. And this thing is having problems focusing today. So you've got more of the darker grayish green on that side, then you have more of a lighter gray on that side, and then here you have another one that's more of the red with the white inclusions in it. Mustard yellow up there. I really like these gemstones because they come in all different colors. They're fun to work with. Then number 4, you have a double point pendant. It is 8 by 40 millimeters, and you only get one of these. Now, of course, I'm saying only one because I only get the single beads of the month. On any of my packages that I get, I only get the singles beads of the month. They also have a double beads of the month. So if you got the double beads of the month in the gemstone one, then you would have gotten 2 of these pendants instead of just the one. So this one is just like what it says. It's got a point on either end, and then you've got the hole sitting right here at the top. So when you string through or thread through your hole, then it would sit something similar to that. Box number 5 are faceted rounded teardrops, and they are 8 by 12 millimeters, and you get 6 of these. So I'll go ahead and show you all 6 of these guys. There again, you get the variations in colors, which if you're big on making earrings, it can make it a little difficult to make earrings, but these two look really, really good together. These 3 are about the same color. These 2 on either side of the head, the lighter gray ones, those would look good in a set of earrings. But then I only have just the one mustard yellow, so then I'd probably use that in a necklace or something like that. But those are good teardrops, and then the hole goes from the top to the bottom like that. So that's how your hole runs on those guys. And then the last part of the gemstone beads of the month is, what are these? Hishis. Hishi beads. They are 4 by 6 millimeters, and you get 15 of these guys. So here's your range of colors again. Mustard yellow, more of a greenish yellow, that one's more of a beige, that one's got more white in it than anything. So all sorts of different types. And they are 4 by 8 millimeters. So the extra part is the Findings Companion Pack. This is an add-on to the Beads of the Month. And I usually get the Findings Companion Pack. There's also a crystal one that you can add on as well, if that's something that's more along the lines of what you use. So this one came with a pair of hoop earrings. Now, my size earrings may be different than yours. It says the size will vary, but you get 1 pair of hoop earrings, which this size is perfect for me because I don't like to wear really large hoop earrings. This size is a good size for me. They're about an inch in diameter. So that's a really good size. You get 16 inches of 2.2 millimeter cable chain. So here's your chain that you end up getting. You get 16 inches of that. Not 2 feet. 2 feet's 24 inches, sorry. So you get 16 inches of that. You get 3 lobster clasps. And these are just traditional lobster clasps, just in the black color. And I'll end up using one of these guys in the necklace. just because it came in the kit. So when we get to the necklace, you can use whatever clasp that you prefer, but I'm going to use one of those. You also get a fancy magnetic clasp with an AB crystal. So you have a crystal that is on either side of the clasp, and it's magnetic, so it opens and closes like that. I have a couple of these from other boxes that I've received over the years, so those are really neat. I like to use those guys. Any type of magnetic clasp, especially in a bracelet for me, I usually try to use. You also get an S-hook clasp with a 7mm jump ring. So you would attach your S-hook to your product right here, and then you would use this to attach the rest of it. Or you can do it vice versa. Actually, you can attach right here to your product, and then you can use this to attach on that side. That's probably better. I don't use S-hooks very often, if you couldn't tell. So that's probably the easier way of doing it. Attach your project here, use the jump ring to go this way. Alrighty, so the next part are 11 by 7mm scales. You get 12 of these. Now these are different. They feel like they're a little piece of metal, but it looks like a little scale, like a dragon scale or something. So those are pretty neat. So I like those, and you get 12 of them. That'll work out really good with making something for my daughter. Her school's mascot is a dragon, so that would work out really good. And their colors are black and green, so that would work out really neat. Next part we get are 6 2-inch ball head pins, and these are 22 gauge head pins. So just your plain head pins. Always good to use if you're using earrings or anything like that, or making little small pendants. And then the last thing you have for the companion pack are 6mm 18 gauge jump rings, and you end up getting 12 of these guys. Alright, so that is the end of the unboxing. So like I said in the beginning, we're going to get out those beads that are the blue and the white ones from the first section of the box unboxing, and meet me back, and then I'll show you the rest of the things we need, and then we'll start our necklace. Alrighty, so I got all of my supplies out that I need to make the necklace. We're just going to do a simple stringing necklace today. So with that being the case, I have one of my lights turned off right now so you don't see a big huge glare on this, but we're going to be using the Soft Flex beading wire. This is the 49 strand beading wire. This color of wire is called Tanzanite. So it's a medium-sized wire. It's really, really good wire. Really recommend this one if you like to have different colored wires. We'll need some crimp tubes to go along with it, a clasp of choice. So like I said, I'm using the black clasp just because it came in this month's kit, so I'll use the black one. I've got those jump rings that came in the companion pack as well, just in case I need some extra jump rings. I don't know if I'm going to make an extender chain or not, so if I do that, then I'll have some extra ones out, or I just need one. Then we'll need the 3 items from the box. So we've got the Rizzos, we've got the gumdrops, and we've got the twist beads. I just have a bunch of Rizzos sitting here. I still have probably a good half of a container still sitting in there of the Rizzos. The gumdrops, I have 10 of the gumdrops out, and then I've only got 5 of the twist beads out. I felt like the pattern that I'm going to end up doing, if I did more than 5 of the twist beads, to me it felt like it was going to be too much. So you can either increase or decrease the amount of twist beads and or gumdrops, whichever you like. Because you don't have to do the pattern I'm doing. You can do whatever pattern you want to. So that's completely up to you. The only other thing I have out on my mat is some Miyuki seed beads. These are the Duracoat Galvanized Silver. If you're interested in the Miyuki number, it is 4201. So go ahead and get these supplies out, and then meet me back and I'll show you the pattern. Alright, so I just moved off the crimp tubes and the clasp and jump rings and everything off to the side just to get them out of the way. And then I have my spool of wire still sitting on the spool. I haven't cut off the amount yet because I'm not quite sure exactly how long of a necklace I'm going to make. I have an idea that it's either going to be either a 16-inch with an extender chain, or I might go ahead and just do an 18-inch and then just make it just be that. I'll see what I want to at the end. But this is going to be our pattern. We're going to start off with a seed bead. Then we're going to pick up 3 rizzos, but a seed bead in between as well. So rizzo seed bead, a second one, and then a third one with a seed bead afterwards. So basically every time you pick up a different bead, you're always going to put a seed bead in between. So now we have 3 rizzos on there. Now we're going to pick up our first gumdrop. And then we're going to have a seed bead, rizzo, seed bead, just 1 rizzo this time. I'm going to string it on this way. Sometimes it's quicker for me to do it this way, sometimes not. So we have a gumdrop and then 1 rizzo after that one. Then we're going to pick up our first twist bead. So now we have it like this. Then we're going to put 1 rizzo in between again. So seed bead, rizzo, seed bead. Then we're going to pick up a second gumdrop. And then that is the end of the repeat. So yours should look something similar to that if you're following along with me. Just like that. I'm trying to get it all to sit right, but the rizzos aren't, but that's okay. So you should have something that looks similar to this. So start over again. So you start over with your seed bead and your 3 rizzos. I'm just going to do 1 more repeat, then I'll break off and let you finish however much of length of you would like. If you just want to do the 1 repeat, that's perfectly fine. You would just skip on through to the next section where I talk about how we're going to finish off the necklace and how we will do that. So I've got my 3 rizzos on now. I'm going to put my next gumdrop, 1 rizzo in between with seed beads in between all of it. And then comes the twist bead. So you've got that so far, 3 rizzos, gumdrop, 1 rizzo, twist bead. Now we're doing 1 rizzo again. And then we end with a gumdrop. So that is 2 repeats done. So I'll leave it on the mat this time, down here at the bottom. So that's what it should look like. So go ahead and complete however many rotations that you want to do. I'm going to end up doing 5 of my drops, so I'll have 5 of these guys sitting down there, and then I'll end up using 10 of my gumdrops, or 5 of the twist beads and 10 of the gumdrops, and then rizzos on either side. So go ahead and complete all of that. When you get down to your last repeat, go ahead and copy this side over here. So continue on and put 3 more rizzos with seed beads on in between each of them, and then end with a seed bead. And then meet me back, and then we'll figure out how we're going to finish it off. Alright, so I have the stringing completed now. So I have just left on just the 5 beads here and then the 10 gumdrops. I feel like that looks pretty good. I was going to continue on with the rizzos and the 11-os, but it's actually getting very close to dinner time right now, so I'm trying to finish this necklace a little bit quicker than what I typically would. So I think I'm just going to leave it like this. I'll leave it free-flowing, so that way it can kind of move on the neck a little bit when you're wearing it. That'll make it for a somewhat different type of necklace. I'm going to go ahead and make it an 18-inch necklace. My wire is still attached to my spool though. I don't have it cut off just yet. But I'm going to show you how to use your crimp tubes. I'm going to be using the magical crimper today. So if you're not familiar with this, it has a little concavity here in the inner part of the crimper itself. And what you would do is you would center your crimp tube, a 2x2 crimp tube, inside that concavity. Then when you squish down, it'll end up making a square, which I'll show you all that in just a second. And then you would turn it around in a 90 degrees, then you squish down again, and then it makes it more of a ball looking. And then you just turn it ever so slightly, squish a couple more times, turn, squish, and then eventually you'll end up with a little ball of crimp to make it look like another bead. So I'm going to use the magical crimpers today. I'll show you how to use that. And then I've got my wire cutters off to the side too, because we'll need those in a minute. Now, I'm sure all of y'all noticed, what is this up here? This is a scrap piece of wire. This one's a purple in color. I think it's called purple amethyst if I remember right. But I did some other necklaces and sets recently with the purple wire, and so I have some scrap wire sitting off to the side. I recently, just this morning actually, watched a video on how to use the crimper because I'm still learning how to use it, and got a very good suggestion on using some scrap wire to put 3 strands of wire through your crimp tube while you're learning how to use it. So I would suggest to do that too. I'll show you how to do it in just a moment. So like I said, I'm just going to leave this just free flowing, and then every once in a while you'll see the light blue wire come through and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our crimp tube on the end of the wire. See if I can get this closer and try not to get everything else on the mat all in the way too, so it has something to focus on. And then I'm going to go ahead and put, actually no, I'll just leave this one open. We'll put the lobster clasp on the last one. So we're going to make a loop on this side, and then you can either use this loop just as is to hook onto the lobster clasp, which I might just do that, or you can use this loop to allow somewhere for your jump rings to connect to. So I'm just trying to make this loop to where it's big enough but not too big until I'm comfortable with the size, and trying to keep the wires as straight as I can, so that way the wires are straight over here off to the left where I'm holding it. Now I'm going to take the scrap wire and I'm just going to string this through, just like that. So this will just hang out in there while we're learning how to crimp. So now you take your crimpers, you put that crimp tube in the center of the crimper. See if I can get a picture of it. That's kind of a good picture. And then once you squish down on it, it should make it look like a square, like that. It's like a flattened square. Now what you'll do is you'll turn it 90 degrees, so now that square is sitting in that little concavity, and then you squish down again. Just making sure that you're in the center the whole time. And then now all you'll do is you'll just move your wire around just ever so slightly and continue to crimp. My problem is that I keep moving the crimp while I'm turning. It's like I know what my issue is, but sometimes it's hard for me to keep from moving it because I have a little bit of a tremor, and so sometimes my tremor in my hand will make me start moving in directions that I don't typically want to be moving in at that particular point in time. So this is all you do. I'm actually probably pushing down on this a little too many times, but eventually you're going to end up with something that looks like a little ball of crimp like that. Come on, guy, focus. You can do it. Okay, yeah, you can kind of see it. See, there's a little bit over here off to the side that's not the greatest part of crimp, but that's actually a pretty good crimp that I've been able to do recently. So now what do you do with all this extra wire? You just cut it off. So we're going to cut off the purple one first. So we're just going to go all the way down close to the crimp, just like that, and then just cut that part off. And do that on the other side with the purple. And then we'll do that extra little part of the blue sitting there as well. So you just want to get down as close to the crimp as you can. So you're going to see a little bit of a purple sitting there, but really nobody's going to notice that unless they're looking so closely at the necklace. But most of the time people aren't going to notice that. And then cut off your extras for your blue. And so now you have a nice little crimp on that side. So all we have to do is the same thing on the other side after we get this all measured out to 17 inches. Probably well, let's see. If you're going to use this as the loop that we just made as your connector for your lobster clasp, that's going to end up being, once we get this connected on the other side, that's going to end up looking something similar to this. So that's going to be about an inch or so. It's just around an inch. So if you're wanting an 18-inch necklace, then you need to cut off about 17 inches, but then you need to leave yourself enough room so you can do another crimp on the other side. So let's go ahead and cut off either about 19 or 20 inches, depending on if you want to do an 18-inch necklace. So I would do at least an inch, if not 2 inches, until you're used to doing this. And I'm just moving the wire through this. I think I'm going to measure it off camera and then come back and show you how to crimp that other side, just to give you another look at the crimp. So I'll measure this off camera and then come back and show you how to do that other side with adding your lobster clasp. Be back in a second. Alright, so I ended up getting about 21 inches cut off, and that's only because that's how much I had already put off, gotten off the spool, so I was like, okay, we'll just work with the 21 inches. So if we want to have about 17 inches for our necklace, so we have an inch left over for our clasp to make the 18 inches, then I have about 4 inches or so of the wire that I can work with to make my loop on this side. So I'm just pinching it over here on my left hand just to kind of keep myself a visual as to where it should be, kind of sort of be at. And if I can get it on the end of the tube, there we go. So we add our crimp tube first. Go ahead and add your lobster clasp now. And then, like I said, I'm keeping my thumb pinched over here so I can kind of know where it's supposed to be at. And then I'm going to thread through the excess of the wire and then pull down. And try not to get this all twisted. And then you want to pull your crimp tube or your wire down with your lobster clasp on it, but leave enough room to where your lobster clasp can still kind of wiggle around some. It doesn't have to be super duper tight, and it doesn't have to be super duper loose either. But you want it somewhat small, but like I said, not too small. So now I'm just putting my third piece, my purple piece of wire through there, because I'm still learning how to do this. Then we're going to put the crimp tube in the center, and we're going to squish down. When we squish down, it makes it look like a little flattened square. Then we're going to turn it 90 degrees, put it back in the crimper again, in the center, and then squish down. And then turn ever so slightly and continue to squish. Watching that video this morning of the lady, and I really apologize about not remembering the name, but that's actually helped me out quite a bit on this crimping, using the extra strand of just scrap wire that you have sitting around, because you're always going to have something that you're going to end up cutting off. So why not keep all your pieces of scrap wire and use it for things like this? Kind of nifty. Okay, and you're really just turning around until you don't feel any more resistance. Once you don't feel any more resistance, then you should have a pretty good looking crimp ball, or ball of crimp on your wire. And like I said, sometimes my trimmer kind of makes it a little bit hard for me to get completely in the right spot. You can always just do a simple crimp too, if that's something that you would prefer. So that's going to be close enough for me. I'm pretty happy with that crimp. There again, it's not perfect. It's perfectly fine. I'm still learning. I'm okay if I don't have a perfectly looking little ball of crimp right now. So now we're going to just cut off the excess purple again. So I'm going right up against the crimp tube, cutting that side off, and then do the same thing on the other side. And then make sure you cut off your excess wire and not your actual necklace wire. That would be sad because we would have to recrimp. So then now I have all of that cut off. And now I have a completed necklace. Okay everyone, so here is a little bit better of a picture of our necklace that we just finished making. So thank you very much for watching the Adornable Elements March 2025 unboxing video, and then our little short tutorial of our necklace, where we got the Hot and Trendy Beads of the Month Club, that if you sign up with my discount code DINA10, you'll end up getting the similar beads, just like I do on a monthly basis, of whichever one comes out of my rotating beads of the month. And then I also get my purchased ones of the Gemstones Beads of the Month, as well as my findings pack. So thank you very much for watching everyone, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also leave a comment down there in the comment section. I'd love to read your comments and I will respond back to them as quickly as I can. So thanks again guys, y'all have a good rest of the day and I will see you in the next video. Bye!